Hey folks, I thought we'd take a quick look today through two comic books from 1937. Yes, these are from the year before Superman debuted, meaning that they are technically Platinum Age comic books before the Golden Age. So these are Popular Comics issues 16 and 23. They are from May and December of 1937. So I just thought we'd take a quick look through them. Again, these older books to me are very interesting, just because again they're so old. They're before the Golden Age. They're basically before superheroes. But you see one headline character here is Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy started out as a newspaper comic strip character, but he appeared in a lot of different titles throughout the Platinum and Golden Age. So, and Silver Age too. He was really around for a while. In fact, they're still probably making Dick Tracy comic books today. But here we see the Dick Tracy strip here, and by Chester Gould. And typically these comics oftentimes are self-contained on one page, but this is across several different pages here. And then you see the other strips. Again, these basically go on one page. So that's Smitty, looks like. I think that's what that is. Yeah, Smitty. And then you have, at the bottom, you have these other strips. So Herbie at the bottom there. Although that one, yeah, it's self-contained on each page. And again, that's kind of an interesting thing too. They had a lot of puzzles on these older books also. So it looks like on this page at least it's not done. But what's interesting looking at these old books also is that you come across lots of different titles that you've never heard of before. Lots of different characters that you've never heard of before. Oh, but there's Little Orphan Annie. So obviously she was pretty popular. But things like Simp O'Dill or Bug Lugs or Tippy. So then there's also Terry and the Pirates, which was a pretty famous strip for a while. And, it's kind of unfortunate that the artwork was so confined to these small panels. Oh, Gasoline Alley. My great-grandfather actually used to call me Skeezix, which is a character from Gasoline Alley. I later found out. I didn't know at the time. Well, these panels are a little bit bigger, which is good because you can see some of the detail there. But some of the other ones, it's like there's so many panels on one page. It's hard to even really see the artwork that well. But on these pages, it's a little bit bigger. Don Wilson of the Navy. I think I've heard of that one before. And as you can see, again, it's pretty nice shape overall. Like the puzzles aren't done. The centerfold is attached. The staples don't have rust. Like, it's pretty nice looking book, honestly, for being from 1937. Boss and Hal. Sea Scout. The Gumps. Sister Susie. It looks like these puzzles were done a little bit there. A little bit of pencil there. Winnie Winkle. Parental Problems. Tippy. As you can see, like, they're really, a lot of them are just like a slice of life sort of stuff. Just like average, sort of everyday comedy kind of stuff. Like sort of sitcom-esque humor, I guess. But, there's nothing really too fantastical in these. They're all, just some adventure strips. The detective stuff, but like, a lot of comedy. And again, like this is pre-superhero. It looks like these puzzles were done a little bit. So no superheroes. Buck Rogers was around, but he's not in this comic book here. I got a little bit of Western there. But, it is cool that books in this condition still exist from that time period because, again, it's very, very old, right? 1937. So it's in decent shape. So it's nice that books still exist like that. So we'll take a look next at Popular Comics number 23. Again, this is from December of 1937. And actually a little worse shape, even though it's it's a few months newer. A little more beaten up. But again, Dick Tracy is the headline feature. And what's interesting too in these old Dick Tracy strips is that he was wearing not a yellow jacket. So of course he's more well known for wearing yellow, but he had, it's a black suit back then. Again, this one's, as you can tell, a little more worn, a little worse condition. Pages are a little more yellowed. Again, with the puzzles, you gotta check, see if they've been done. But as you can see, some different strips. I don't think we saw these, like Smokey Stover and Jinglet. Oh, there's Little Orphan Annie. A lot of text in some of these. Like, look at how much text are in these panels. It's like most of the panel is just text. Well, being president of the Orioles ain't what it's cracked up to be. A lot of hard work keeping accounts and watching the treasurer and seeing that somebody else watches the treasurer and appointing somebody else to watch me watch the treasurer so I won't give way to a weak moment. It ain't what it's cracked up to be. And yet, when you hear the hand clapping after you make a speech, all the hard work don't seem like nothing with all the good fellowship that's in the club. A back slap and a good warm handshake makes you forget all the work and trouble. So, again, quite a lot of text, but again, the panels are very small. And like, again, with stuff like this, it's like the ink kind of runs together, so it's hard to even see the artwork or read some of the text in some of these. Like a lot of bleeding of the ink. Or Gasoline Alley. There we go. So this crossword puzzle was done. Popular crossword puzzles. Simp O'Dill. I wonder who owns the rights to a lot of these older strips now. I wonder if they're just public. I mean, they probably are public domain because they're so old. But it is funny that, you had all these different characters that are just basically forgotten at this point. Like, who really remembers any of these besides like comic book historians or, somebody who's very, very old. Centerfold's detached. A lot of artwork there. But, unless you're 90 years old or you're a comic book historian, I don't know necessarily if a lot of people remember the Gumps, for example. I kind of was wondering that with Smiling Jack. Kind of was actually thinking about that with even some more recent stuff from like the Silver Age, like TV adaptations. Like, who even remembers the TV shows anymore? So then you got Moon Mullins here and Kitty Higgins. Again, you see a lot of more racist stereotypes and caricatures in these older 1930s books. In several different strips throughout the book, honestly. Apple, Mary, and Denny. But yeah, I mean, it's just an interesting thing to think about. Again, the fact that these older strips are just kind of forgotten about, and makes you wonder, makes you, I guess, reflect on like current pop culture and sort of, you know, how long things get remembered for. And it is interesting, again, if you think about Superman came around about 6 months after this, and he's still around. You know, Dick Tracy, some people still remember, not a lot of people. I kind of remember because they brought him back around in that movie in 1990 with Warren Beatty. So I guess that's really the key, is if something can kind of get reinvented over time and just staying in the popular consciousness. Like you think about Peanuts or Garfield or stuff like that. Like they just they keep coming out with it in new media and keeping it sort of top of mind and reintroducing it to people. That didn't happen with Dill and Daffy, unfortunately. So again, these older books, in a way, it's sort of like just an interesting piece of history, kind of commemorating these characters that are sort of forgotten about, lost in the sands of time. And of course, you have all this other interesting stuff too, like the ads here, which also are just so full of text, man. Like, you need good eyesight to sit and read that. But like, it's just so tiny. It's like how like you'd see an advertisement in the newspaper, and then there'd be like the little disclaimer at the bottom. It's like that small or smaller. This text is tiny. You know what this ad just made me think, actually? See how the projector is shooting like a triangle towards the screen? Is that why the play button on VCRs and remote controls, is that why it's a triangle? Because it's like the light coming out of a projector? Is that possible? Anyway, just thought it'd be interesting just to kind of take a look at these two books again. 1937, interesting old artifacts. And again, I have some other books that are also about as old, famous funnies. So, but as always, if you're interested in this kind of stuff and just interested in comic books generally, check out my eBay store. It's Collectdoor, COLLECTDOOR on eBay. And also, please like and subscribe. Feel free to comment on this video if there's anything that you saw interesting in these books. Please let me know. And yeah, I will see you next time.